Welcome back to another video, guys. I really appreciate the support on the first one. I really want to make different types of tutorials. Once the channel kind of gets bigger, I'll talk about how I've got my placements. I'll break down more placement loops. For now, I'm just kind of breaking down beats I've made just to kind of help show different sounds and different sound styles, because I know other producers do that type of thing too. So it's definitely something I want to get into more. So today I'm going to break down how I make glow, underground, Chief Keef, whatever you want to call them, type beats. This one is a little faster. It's definitely a faster type of beat for sure. Sitting at I think, what is it, 165 beats per minute. This will definitely get you some hoes, bro. When you show them this beat, you'll get hoes. Take it from me, bro. Anyways, I'm just going to break it down, kind of go over how I made it and kind of like the different melodies and styles you hear and that type of thing. So I started off with this brass preset from Expand. This is like the go-to for everything, this producer brass sound. I use it for pretty much everything. So this is what this pattern sounds like. So as you can hear, it's very repetitive, very simple. So what I started with is I started with this C bass note. I layered it just because I like how it sounds layered. I think with these types of beats, that's really the key to this like darker sound, is you really have to layer it and get that very dark horn. So I layered it and then I moved it down 5 semitones to keep it in key. I don't know the music theory behind that. I know other producers do it, so I do it. Just the vibes. And then I proceeded to make this very, very simple top melody. It pretty much repeats with this little variation at the end where I just moved it down in the scale. And then the next thing I did is I took the entire first 4 bars and I transposed it down one semitone, whatever, just because in the this technically is not musically correct. So that's another key point I can touch on later in videos. I'm not going to go into it now. I don't care. But yeah, it's definitely one of those where it doesn't follow music correctly, but it sounds hard at the end of the day, so that's why I did it. So I transposed it all down one, and it's all the exact same pattern. And that's kind of what you'll notice in this beat. Everything after the 4 bars is just transposed down one, and this beat is very, very simple. So I already played it. You guys get the gist. So the next thing I added was just some strings that follow the chord. I'm pretty sure these are strings. I haven't looked, don't kill me. But again, it just follows the chords. That's all I did, was just copy and pasted it over. There's nothing too crazy or any sort of variation. So this sounds like this. Anyways, this is what those two sound like together. And the strings really kind of complement it. It's done very regularly in glow beats and different types of sounds. Some people use it for the high end. I use it to kind of fill it in a little bit, just because I think it sounds crazy with it. So the next thing I added was this, I'm pretty sure, orchestral hit from Expand. Again, follows the bass notes. It just kind of adds like a little bounce to it is the best word. And you can just leave it as is. I mean, you don't really hear it. I have it pretty quiet in the mix, but I know it was done very regularly back in like very old school Chicago drill. But this all together so far sounds like this. Again, you don't hear the brass hit that often, but when you do, it kind of stands out and it gives a little bit of bounce for the beat, kind of for like the 808s, and I'll go into that more later. So the next thing I added was this spiccato string, again from Expand. Just as like a counter melody, it's nothing crazy. It hits only a few times in the song, and it's very low in the mix for the most part. You can't really hear it. So all these put together sounds like this. And then the next thing I added was the spooky lead. That's literally what the preset's called, from Xenology, the AX spooky lead. Again, very popular in glow music. I mean, you hear it in other genres, but it's very prominent in like the underground glow scene, whatever. And this is very basic. It pretty much follows the two top notes of the chord, the G sharp and the G. The G sharp isn't the fifth, I guess, in the scale. It's just the G note is, but it goes up and down because I liked how it sounds. It just sounds dark and evil. Ooh. Shadow Wizard Money Gang. We love casting spells. Anyways, this pattern sounds like this. Again, all of it's just taken and pitched down one semitone. You don't have to do anything crazy like that, but with the lead is very prominent in the mix, and that's very noticeable, and they do that very regularly in glow music, underground. I'm going to say it a million times in this video. I don't care. And this is what this sounds like, all of this put together. So the next thing I added was a bell. I'm pretty sure this is the digitubular bell from Purity. This is my go-to bell sound. And what I like to do, obviously, is I layer it just because I think it hits a little bit harder. I think if you just have the one bell, it doesn't hit as hard if you were to like turn it up and EQ it and do all that fun shit. So I layer it. Other people may do it. I kind of just figured that out from different experiments and shit I've done. But this very, very basic, just hits on the one every so often. But it gives like that church bell almost sound, which is what I really like about it. And it makes the 808s, when they hit on the one, it feels like they hit a lot harder to me. It doesn't. It doesn't really do anything like that. Nothing magical. But it sounds cool. So that's why I did it. Again, all these sound together sound like this. And then the next thing, one of the last sounds I added for the melody was a bass piano. Deal. I didn't play the pattern separately, but I mean, you get the gist. So on to the fun stuff, the drums, my favorite part. The first thing I added for the drums was very basic hi-hat pattern. I'm pretty sure I used a MIDI out of Poncho's stash kit, and I changed it a little bit. I'm pretty sure I used one of the glow MIDIs and then just changed it up a little bit because, you know, I'm like the hi-hat god, kinda.
He like a hi-hat god, kinda.
Anyways. Very simple, nothing crazy. The next thing I added was this smoke snare out of a drill kit. Anyways, it's very heavily inspired, so I like to use a lot of different snares and sounds out of drill kits, because I can't really find any good drum sounds out of newer, like Zaytoven, Chop Squad, Young Chop, whatever. I can't find them out of there. So this is what this sounds like. Very basic clap pattern, nothing too crazy. I just put it so the clap doesn't hit directly on the two like a normal trap beat, and then I added a little one for bounce. So then all those with the melody sounds like this so far. My back hurts. My back's been killing me, bro. School's been taking a toll. Don't go to school, kids. Do not go to school. Sorry, parents, if you're watching this. I don't mean to do anything. Anyways, now time to the 808s. I added two different 808s. I have just a regular Spins 808 that I got from Exclusives kit, and then I added the Antisocial 808 from like the song Antisocial. It was also used a lot in like Yeats music from like Tragic and Filthy, or not Filthy, like Working on Dying. They used it a lot. 808 pattern is, the first one is very, very basic. And it's just for rappers to flow on. I mean, I don't know if I can necessarily hear a rapper on this beat just with how fast it is. If you slow it down like 5 BPM, then maybe. But this is what this sounds like. Again, just the first 4 bars pitch down, a semitone, and then the second pattern I added was this one. It's a crazy switch up. I think it would go hard, if like Slump 6 or SCP West or whoever was like screaming on it, I think it would sound crazy. And then I added like little slides. I think it sounds cool with the 808. It's definitely a little different sounding, but it sounds hard, so that's why I added them. Again, very creative with the 808 pattern because, I just love making everything so different that, I just have to pitch it down one because this is obviously very, very different from this one. And so all of that sound put together, I'll kind of play all of it with the switch up so you can kind of hear what it sounds like. Like you get the gist. It sounds hard. It sounds cool how it is. And then I just added a few pretty much filler kind of perks. This type of sound was utilized very heavily in old Chicago music. I hear it in New York drill as well. The same, type of crash pattern. And I'll play all the perks at the end together so you can kind of hear it. Just so I'm not like going back and forth every time. The next thing I added was the Zaytoven box. Again, very basic. You get the gist. I'm not playing the rest. And then the last thing I added was this Eagle Vox. I just like how it sounded. You don't have to put this in. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't do too much to the beat. It doesn't add anything. It just sounds cool. It just sounds cool, to be honest. And so everything put together, before I talk about the intro and how I did that, I will talk about in just a second. This is all the drums, though, and everything. The final beat, I guess, as is. It's, it sounds crazy. I really fuck with how it came out. And so what I did for this intro, what I did for the intro is I took like this section of the beat and I consolidated it all down to one audio clip. And then I took this, I grabbed the pitch knob, turned this up to 12, pitched it all the way down. And then I right-clicked, created an automation clip, and came up with this so it kind of drags in. And then I did the same thing with the tempo. I made an automation clip for the tempo by right-clicking, and then do create automation clip, and I just dragged this really low. So you kind of get that same like Ken Carson freestyle, I think 2 intro, similar type of vibes. So all of that put together for the final beat, including my tag, sounds like this. That's the full beat. I'm just checking the last tutorial and it's almost hit 100 views. I may or may not link that in the video if I figure out how to do that. If not, just check it out on the channel. It's one of the most recent uploads. I'm recording this as of Thursday, so it may hit 100 by the time this video drops on Saturday. But I hope you guys really enjoyed. I still don't really know how to do outros, but thank y'all for tapping in. And I think the next tutorial I'm going to do is going to be New York drill. So stay tuned for that. And then I also have Twitch streams coming soon too. I will throw my Twitch channel up on screen in my pretty little hand if I can figure out how I'm not putting that in my hand. Anyways, hope y'all have a good rest of your day, night, whenever you're watching. But thank you for tuning in once again. Appreciate y'all.